Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Prez, and in this Elden Ring video, I'm showing you 10 of the most underrated weapons in the game. These weapons are different than the normal weapons you're used to seeing. These are weapons you've never tried or looked over. I'm sure by the end of this video, you'll like a lot of these weapons on this list, and if you don't have them, don't worry, I'll quickly show you how to get them in this video. Before I get into it though, I quickly ask that you can leave me a like and a sub on this video, and if you do, thank you so much. The only thing I do need to say about this list though, is that this is in no particular order. Since all these weapons are good and very different, there's no real way for me to rank these. But anyways, without wasting any more time, let's get started with number 10, the Antspur Rapier. This weapon has a very unique look to it, from the blade, which is a stinger of an ant, all the way down to the handle, which shows what looks like an ant holding up the blade. This naturally comes with 50 Scarlet Rot build up on it, which you can increase, or since this weapon has the freedom of putting any ash ore you want on it, you can infuse this with anything. Clearly though, if you want this weapon to be overpowered, you can power stance this with another rapier and add seppuku to the Antspur Rapier in your right hand. Once you do this, you now have a super fast attacking bleed weapon with good lunge that also stacks Scarlet Rot. This weapon can be found to the left of the shaded castle. Once here, kill the NPC and you now have it. Next, at number 9, I have the Highland Axe. When I was talking about weapons you probably looked over, this is what I meant. Since upon your first inspection on it, it's nothing more than a simple axe you can get very early. This can be obtained in Stormvale Castle in the room with the grafted scion, and since you get this weapon so early, you may think nothing of it. But once you read the description that says roars are enhanced by this weapon, you realize that the true strength of this weapon doesn't come from swinging it, it's actually specialized for roars. Throw in the Roar Medallion Talisman and add the Ash of War Beast Roar to the axe. Once you do, you now have a cheap ranged attack that actually does a lot of damage. At number 9, I have the Ripple Crescent Halberd, but this mainly acts as a utility weapon. I'm not going to say this weapon is great for every situation, but in particular fights, this weapon is the best in the entire game, but let me explain. At max level, this halberd has an S scaling in Arcane. This means greases work very well for the weapon like bleed or poison, but most importantly, sleep. With S scaling being the best in the game, that means this weapon specializes in something like putting enemies to sleep. So apply your sleep grease to the weapon and hit anything that can be slept, and in 1 or 2 attacks, this weapon will put the enemy completely to sleep every time. This works extremely well on any of the Godskin fights, so if you're having a hard time with that, try using this. You can find this at the Academy Gatetown Grace. You just need to kill the frog holding the halberd, and if you get lucky enough, he will drop the weapon for you and you now have it. Up next, at number 7, I have the Golem's Halberd. Yes, I know, another halberd, but unlike the last one, this is mainly for people who like heavy weapons or strength builds. This halberd hits insanely hard and has the freedom of adding any Ash of War you want to it. So for example, I use the Lion's Claw Ash of War, since this is the easiest way to stagger a boss in the game, but it's also very viable to go with fire or a faith build with this weapon. But adding a heavy affinity to it will set its strength scaling to an A, and this weapon also has some insane range to it. You can get this off of any golem holding this halberd, you just have to get lucky enough, just like the last one. At number 6, I had the Venomous Blade. This is a super cheap claw weapon which stacks poison buildup, and at max level with an occult Ash of War can stack up to 153. It's got a very cool look to it and some actually cool lore behind it. It's basically just 2 snake heads that you can wear on each of your hands and use them as claws. But this weapon was said to be used by duelists who were exiled from the Colosseum, which is why when wearing the duelist armor, it actually looks so good together. Put this in a poison build and you'll be shocked at how much damage this is actually able to do. You can find this hidden in the abandoned cave in Caelid, but I'll leave the exploring up for you to do. Next up, for number 5, I have the Warhawk Talon. This straight sword is another good option for bleed builds. It has such a cool look to it with a see-through blade that has feathers scattered around the inside of the blade, and with a nice moveset, this is a good weapon for early game. The earliest you can find this is at Stormvale Castle. These will drop from the hawks, and if you get lucky enough, one will obviously drop for you. At number 4, I have the Death Ritual Spear. This is a weapon you probably overlooked because I know I did. The first time I got this weapon, I literally didn't care whatsoever about it because I usually don't go for spears, and this weapon looked kind of bland. It honestly looks like you picked up a tree branch, so at first you probably just put it back away. But it's once you use its Ash of War that you realize this weapon is actually not that bad. Its unique Ash of War called Spear Call Ritual casts spears down from the sky on enemies. And the bigger the enemy, the more spears can land, so this can stack some serious high damage on enemies like dragons. This weapon is dropped from the Deathrite Bird at the mountaintop of the giants, and is it worth it for how annoying this boss fight is? That's for you to decide. Before I finish off with the last 3 weapons, I do want to say thank you guys so much if you're still watching. watching. Maybe you could leave me a like on this video. And thank you guys so much for 70,000 subscribers. We just hit 60,000 last week. So to go up this fast is seriously awesome, and it's all thanks to you guys. So thank you guys so much, but let's keep going with this video. If I don't sound as enthusiastic in this video as I usually do, I'm very tired. I've been working a lot lately, so I'm sorry for that. But at number 3, I have the Magma Worm Scale Sword. Maybe not as underrated as some of the other weapons on this list, but this is definitely one you need to try if you haven't. It's got a look that you may like, but I personally don't. Something about the hair sticking off the tip of the blade kind of weirds me out, but it has a unique jumping attack that when two-handed actually does more damage than the standard jumping attack, and its Ash of War Magma Guillotine leaves behind a puddle of lava, which if an enemy survives the initial attack may die to the lava left behind, or it will obviously just continue to take damage while standing in that lava. This works great in fire builds and can be obtained pretty easy. Just make your way to the Precipice Overlook Grace and kill the Magma Worm boss fight at the top of the elevator. At number 2, I have the Cinque Dia. This dagger has such a sick design to it that makes me like the weapon even more, just based off its looks. You can't change its Ash of War on it, which kind of sucks, but to make it better, this weapon enhances Bestial Incantations. So if you use the Claw Mark seal in your offhand and you use Bestial Incantations, you can stack some very high damage while having a very unique build that not a lot of people use. Not many people playing this game go for bestial builds, when if you use these two items together, it can actually work very well. This weapon is in my opinion one of the most hidden weapons in the entire game, and it can be found at the very bottom of the Bestial Sanctum. Go to the Grace here, and once you're here, you need to drop all the way down to the very bottom. Finally, at number 1, I have the Thorned Whip. Since this is a whip weapon, it's definitely ignored just like flails, and also along with daggers. Usually these weapons get ignored the most by the average player, but this is actually a good choice for a weapon. The Thorned Whip has a very unique look to it again that I like a lot. It stacks bleed, and at max level with a Colt can stack up to 100 bleed. It's got a very long range to it since it's a whip, and in PvP can easily catch enemies off guard. Head to the giant mountaintop catacombs, and just outside the catacomb, kill the fat guy just before the bridge holding the whip. If you get lucky enough, again, he will drop this for you. So good luck getting that and the other weapons you need to get lucky for. Well, that wraps it up for my 10 underrated weapons in Elden Ring. Leave me a comment down below which weapon is your favorite on this list, or what is a weapon you think I missed that is very underrated in Elden Ring. Comment Shark if you made it all the way to this point in the video, and if you did, thank you so much. The support has been crazy from you guys lately, so again, like I've been saying, thank you guys so much. We went up 10,000 subscribers in a week, and that's all thanks to you guys, and this support has seriously been amazing. But yeah guys, thank you so much. My name is Prez, and I'm out, bro. Peace.